And now we can move on to our prospects here, most underrated prospects of the 2021 NFL draft.
And for me, there's like about probably 40 to 60-ish guys that I think are worth those late first rounders to second round picks where you can be like, okay, like that makes sense. Like they have the talent to be there. And I think those are the guys that I want to highlight today. And we're each going to have 5 players on the offensive side of the ball and 5 players on the defensive side of the ball, I believe. And we can start alternating. I'm going to start off with this is in no order, but my number 1 player who I think is underrated is Amari Rodgers, the wide receiver out of Clemson. And he's 5'10", I believe, 205 pounds, 210 pounds. This guy, I heard someone say he looks like a running back, and like I can't unsee that now. He really does look like he has that running back build. And the thing about I think that's interesting about Omar Rogers is that his dad was a wide receiver coach, and he still is a wide receiver coach, I believe. And he's coached a lot of upper echelon talent in the league, lots of good slot wide receivers. And Omar Rogers was a slot wide receiver for Clemson. And he had his true breakout this season after obviously T. Higgins and those guys left to the draft. And Omar Rogers really, if he was 6'2", like you could make a strong case for him being like a top 3 wide receiver taken in this year's draft class. And it's just the fact that he's smaller. Like he has good hands. He has good yards after catch. He's elusive. He has underrated deep speed. He has great ability to make jump balls, especially for someone who's smaller. Like his only flaw is that he's small and that he plays the slot predominantly. Otherwise, like if you wanted to invest like a day 2 pick in Amari Rodgers, you're getting a guy who's going to be an impact player. I mean, this guy tore his ACL and he recovered in 5 months, 5 months. And then he came back and started playing, and he still sucked when he played, but still, like, you got to give him credit for coming back from that injury. And honestly, what it comes down to for me, like he has pretty good route running ability. This guy went into the Senior Bowl and toasted all these corners. And you expect him to do that. He has the talent to do everything you want him to do. And I think he's an impact player. And like I said, like if he was even 2 inches taller, 3 inches taller, and lined up more outside, he would be a baller. And I think he's going to fall in the molds of former Clemson slot wide receivers, especially like the guy in Las Vegas currently. What is his name? I can't remember names. I'm bad with names, but like he's going to be a good slot wide receiver in the league, in my opinion.
Yeah, so for me, my first sleeper here, I'm going to also go in the wide receiver route here. I'm going to go Dyami Brown, wide receiver out of North Carolina.
I have him as well.
Yeah, he's 6'1", 195 pounds. He was getting I think 20 yards per reception, and he had over 1,000 yards in both of his seasons at UNC. And he just looks good, man. Great hands, physical.
I disagree with that. I disagree with his hands being great.
No, I think he has strong hands at the catch point. I think he does.
I think you can say that, but he definitely has a drop.
I think the issue with him is dropping. I think he does drop passes. I take that back. I don't know why I said great hands. I said great hands.
I think strong hands, as in he can make jump balls.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Physical. Yeah, I think that's his strength for sure. Deep balls, I like him there as well. I think his acceleration for the deep ball passes, I think that's where he's good at. I think for me, I like his competitive toughness too. I think that's obviously an important trait to have. I think for me, the only weakness, like you said, is actually the hands. I think in general,
agreed.
I think I take it back. I think the hands are definitely a problem when it comes to Dyami Brown, and I think release. I think off the release, he has a problem, and then route tree. But route tree is something that I guess like guys like DK Metcalf had those problems too. So I think that's an issue, I guess, of being a limited route runner. But I mean, for a guy that's a sleeper, I think this dude's like his big play ability is just tremendous. And I don't know. He's probably he's probably going to be I
think he's a day 2 pick for sure. Lock day 2 pick.
Yeah, I think he's a lock day 2 pick. He's probably going to be mid second to early third. I think that's probably around his range. Yeah, I have him as a top 10 wide receiver in this class, and yeah, I'm high on Dyami Brown, and there are receivers that are obviously better than him, but I see this guy as a high potential guy. I could definitely see a team like the Kansas City Chiefs going after him, especially with Sammy Watkins, a speedster guy like that. But I don't think this guy is a speedster by any means either, Reed, but I think it's
I
just the
agree,
fact
but
that
he has good deep speed. Amal,
but
he got
that deep
separation
speed, that's what
downfield.
that's my thing. Yeah, exactly. I think that's my big positive for him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think the Kansas City Chiefs make a lot of sense. The Indianapolis Colts make a lot of sense. There's just a lot of teams that makes a lot of sense for a day 2 pick. I think Diamie Brown is definitely a guy. Amari Rodgers was also on my list as well when you listed out Amari Rodgers out of Clemson. He's for me like top 15. A receiver that I also see going in day 2. Great player out of Clemson. So we've definitely got 2 great players on for our first offensive sleepers.
Yeah, and just quick notes on Dyami Brown. I like his deep speed. I think his ability, he looks pretty decent with the ball in his hands. I wouldn't say like he's an elite yards after catch player like someone like in this class
Definitely
alone.
not yet.
Not like probably the best yards after catch guy in this class at the wide receiver position, like Rondell Moore, Kadarius Toney. Those 2 guys definitely stand out to me there. Waddle as well, obviously, but Waddle does it a little bit differently. Dyami Brown, he's not there yet, but he's good enough. Like, I think this guy, he can be a good wide receiver too, with some wide receiver 1 upside if he goes to the right spot and he works on his drops. He's a bit smaller. He's not only 6 foot, but he's only 185 pounds. And like, people are knocking Devontae Smith for only being like 100. I think he's like 180. So take that with what you will. But I think his big knocks for me, his route tree, like UNC's offense was like pretty limited when it came to that. He ran a lot of like, basic routes, slants, goes, that type of stuff. Lots of like RPOs in that offense as well. So he didn't really work downfield as much as you'd like with corners and comebacks and that type of stuff. But you can't really fault him for the system. And I think that's stuff he can work on. I don't think he's going to have like a boom early on in his career, but I think like year 2, year 3, he could come out and be a solid player. I guess we've taken 2 of our players. Like I taken Omar Rogers, you taken Dyami Brown. My third guy, I'm going to just stick with wide receiver because why not? Tamorrion Terry. And I know you don't like Tamorrion Terry.
No, I like him. I do like Tamorrion Terry. Well, I don't know why you said that. I like him. I mean, Arib has him as a day 2 pick. I don't have him as a day 2 pick. That's the only difference that we have. I think he's going to be a great player. So yes, in terms of undervalued players, you can also add Tamorrion Terry to that list. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and Tamorrion Terry for me, like if I list off my wide receiver list real quickly, like Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Rashad Bateman, Terrence Marshall. Those are the 5 guys I have that can be like true wide receiver 1s, right? Like I think they can come in and be like wide receiver 1 upside. I don't think Kadarius Toney really has wide receiver 1 upside. I don't think Rondell Moore does. Talon Wallace, maybe, but he's more of like a wide receiver 2 for me. Elijah Moore, definitely not. He's more of a gimmicky player. And then Tamorrion Terry, like of the 15 guys I've scouted at wide receiver so far, I think he has the most wide receiver 1 potential. Like this guy, the fastest play in football history, not football history, but football period the last 2 years, ran like 23 miles per hour. And that includes like Tyreek Hill and Jerick McKinnon and all like Raheem Mostert, and all those guys. He has the speed, 6'3", 203 pounds, according to ESPN. I like his speed. I like his quickness. I like his ability to run with the ball in his hands. I like his, I don't like his route running, but I think that's stuff he can work on. His blocking, obviously, good deep speed. He's a big play threat. I'm all like, he averaged a crazy amount of yards per catch. And you got to humor me here. Like take out his last year in college. Like he was injured the entire time and that's why his stats look terrible. But if you go back to 2019, man was a baller, burning players left, right, and center. And the biggest problem for me, similar with Dyami Brown, concentration drops. His route running needed work. He doesn't have that suddenness in his route running, release, like all that stuff. And off the field, he seemed to have some sort of weird problem with the FSU coaching staff, which like the FSU coaching staff sucks ass. So like, if you want to have a problem with that, go for that. But that's something he definitely needs to interview with. And I think how he interviews is going to be pretty big because you obviously don't want a quitter on your team, and you're having stories thrown around that he was a quitter. So you got to see how he interviews. And if he interviews, I think he's a day 2 lock in my opinion, because he has all the talent. And I think his concentration drops and his route running are really his only flaws as a prospect. And you hit on DK Metcalf when you talked about Dyami Brown and how like both these players have limited route trees, and DK Metcalf still has a limited route tree in the NFL, and he's killing it because Brian Schottenheimer and the coaching staff up there in Seattle, who I was just talking shit about recently, like literally like 10 minutes ago, but they found a way to play to his strengths, and that's what good coaches do. And I think if you do that with Tamorrion Terry and Dyami Brown for that matter, you can definitely get some success out of that. But more so Tamorrion Terry, like just get the ball in his hands. He's a beast.
Yeah, I think he has that upside. I think he can definitely be a steal. I mean, I'm like I said, I'm not as high on Tamorrion Terry as you are, but definitely a guy that's definitely a sleeper per se. My sleeper here, I'm gonna go in the offensive line route here. I'm gonna go James Hudson III out of Cincy, University of Cincinnati. For me, I think he's a raw prospect, but I think he has potential to be a really elite, a true elite tackle. I think his blocking is spectacular on the pass blocking side and on the rush blocking side. I think there are some holes in this game. I think obviously I think athleticism can only go so far. He is very athletic. I think he needs to be a little bit leaner in pass protection. I think that's probably there for him. I think also he's 304 pounds, so maybe you want him to gain more weight, maybe get more mass towards like helping protect the pass and protect the run as well. But yeah, I'm high on James Hudson out of Cincy here. He's not like I think he's probably going to be a day 2 pick. I think Arib. Probably like 2nd to 3rd round pick. I think that's probably where
I haven't done a lot of like scouting on him yet.
Yeah,
but I've heard good things about him as well.
He's a zone blocker. I think that's probably where I'd probably lean him towards. A team that's like predicated towards that.
Kyle Shanahan.
It's Kyle Shanahan type of zone rushing attack. I think that's probably that's probably where I have. I think he's a developmental offensive tackle, but I think he has extremely high potential. So for me, I mean, he's probably going to be my second sleeper. I'm a fan of James Hudson. For me, he's my 5th offensive tackle. So.
High. Okay, I haven't scouted him, so I don't know yet. I'm going to stick on the offensive side of the ball, and specifically the offensive line position, and specifically even more the offensive tackle position. I'm going to go with Liam Eichenberg, the offensive tackle out of Notre Dame. I don't have my tackle list in front of me. I think I've scouted almost 10 guys, and he's at number 6 for me, I believe, just off the top of my head.
I'm high on him as well. Yeah.
For me, what stands out for him is his technique is flawless of all. And I think polar opposite of what you said about James Hudson. And again, I haven't scouted him, so I can't vouch for that myself. But I don't think Liam Eichenberg is like an elite athlete by any means, right? Like I think he definitely has flaws in that part of his game. But what stood out to me when I was watching him was his technique was just like flawless. Like this guy, he dealt with these star pass rushers. He dealt with the Alabama pass rushers, the Clemson pass rushers, like those guys. And he dealt with them even like really well. And I think his game against Pittsburgh, where he faced the likes of a guy who I have as a sleeper, I'm going to talk about him later, Patrick Jones and Rashad Weaver, another guy who some people have as like I think Bleacher Report had them as like their number 2 edge. Also out of Pittsburgh. Like his game against Pittsburgh was really eye-opening to me. Like he's not the most athletic guy. He will get beat occasionally with speed, but his technique is really strong. He's great. He's a great run blocker, great pass blocker. Like if you want a technical guy who I think you can plug in and play at that offensive tackle spot, and you don't really have to worry about it, go Liam Eichenberg. I think his foundation is very strong. I don't know how high his ceiling necessarily is, but at the end of the day, if you want an impact starter on the offensive line, I think you can't go wrong with Liam Eichenberg out of Notre Dame. I just go watch his film if you haven't. Like it's just like it's phenomenal. Like it's a clinic, honestly. Amal. Like he gets beat, but he has the ability to bounce back and he knows how to re-anchor and all that, boring offensive lineman stuff. He does it really well. So he's probably my fourth sleeper.
Yeah, so for me, my next sleeper here, I'm going to go in the quarterback route, which is crazy because I think there's a big drop off. I think obviously the quarterbacks we have are Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, Mac Jones. Top 5, all 5 going to go in the first round, potentially even top 5 of the draft, could even go top 10. So I think those guys are all locked in first round picks. And after that, Kyle Trask is probably going to go next, and he'll probably be falling second to third round. I think that's probably the 6th guy. But I'm not high on Kyle Trask compared to this guy I'm about to list out. And it's crazy because I didn't look at him until about, I'd say, 2 days ago. And I actually got looked into this one because Chris Sims had him as the quarterback 3 of this draft class, which is insane. He had him as a quarterback 3, which is incredibly high. But regardless, quarterback 4, my bad. And I don't know if he's that high for me, but he's my sleeper here, and that's Kellen Mond out of Texas A&M. The dude just his throwing is just elite, Arib. The way he just throws the ball, he's a pure thrower of the ball. He has a rocket armory, showing a lot of like the Dak Prescott type of vibes here, with that late round potential of being an elite quarterback. I'm not going to say Tom Brady yet, but yeah, I think he's a great decision maker as well. I mean, just the only thing I saw from him is that he wants to be right on every play. I think he makes he doesn't take enough risk in this game, but when a guy's obviously open deep, he'll throw it. But I think he's definitely a guy that's under the radar. I would grade him as a day 2 guy, but I think he's either day 2 or day 3. And he only lost 1 game this past year with Texas A&M. He was the Senior Bowl MVP also this past year. On the season, he had 2,000 yards, 19 TDs, and 3 picks. Pretty good season all around. Only lost 1 game in the SEC. I can't complain about that. I mean, I really like this guy, Kellen Mond. I mean, yeah, there are. It is crazy that I'm listing out Kellen Mond, considering he may not go that high. But I'm just like, I think from what I've seen from the tape, I can't even really explain it to you, but the deep ball accuracy is just tremendous. He makes all the throws very well. I think as a pure thrower of the ball, I'll take him over guys like Fields and Lance any day of the week. I think he's just different, man. I like Kellen Mond. I would take him over Trask. I don't know if I'd take him over the remaining top 5 guys that I have, but he's firmly my QB6. I can definitely say that, and I would take him in day 2. And he does have that upside, like Chris Sims says, and he could be the top 3 quarterback from this class if things all go right here. And teams like maybe Denver would be a great place for Kellen Mond, or maybe a San Francisco, or a Dallas that has still hasn't signed Dak Prescott yet. We'll see how that goes. The Bears, but I like this Kellen Mond guy.
Fair enough. I'm still yet to scout him, so I'm not going to give an opinion on a guy I haven't scouted. My last offensive player, and we again, like we said, we've stolen 2 of our players from each other, but I think probably, I don't even know if he's underrated anymore, but he might be my favorite prospect in this draft class, period of all. And it's Javonte Williams, the running back out of UNC. And if you wanted to make a case for this guy, taking him over Najee Harris out of Alabama and Travis Etienne in Clemson, go for it. And I might even be behind you on it, because everything everything you want in a running back, you get in Javonte Williams. And I urge you, if you are like having like a bad day, just look up Javonte Williams. Don't even look up his highlights. Just go watch his straight up game film, because his game film is a highlight reel essentially. Like UNC's running back game, like they have Michael Carter there too, who I have currently as my 4th running back out of 4 that I've scouted. He was the speed there, and the other guy, Javonte Williams, he's the power. And the thing is, he's not even like a true power back. Like when you think power, like a LeGarrette Blount type of player, like no, Javonte Williams has speed to him. And the thing that really stood out to me was like he's a great tackle. He's not a great tackler. He's a great breaker of tackles. His balance is uncanny. Like it's like an Alvin Kamara, where you can't take this guy down with leg tackles. You like, even if you have 2 guys diving in his legs, like you're not getting him to the ground. He has vision. He has power. He has speed. He can catch the ball pretty well. Honestly, my only knock on him was that his pass blocking wasn't that good. And like, that's something he can easily work on, because he's 5'10". I don't know if I said that. He's 5'10", 220, like 225, I think. He has the size to be a bell cow back, and he averaged a good amount of tackles. Like this guy, he looks like Eddie Lacy chasing the last slice of cheesecake out here on the football field every time he gets the ball. Like he's just looking for the end zone. He has that power. He has that burst. He always falls forward, which is a phrase you like to see in a running back. He has these spin moves. He has his jukes. Like he has everything in the arsenal of a running back. Like he honestly like might be my running back 1 in any other class if Najee Harris wasn't a freak athlete. And he's probably my running back 2 over Travis Etienne, in all honesty. I just like what he is. He's the complete package. He has acceleration. He has everything. He's a patient runner when he needs to be. When he's not patient, he can hit the hole. Like he does everything that you want as a running back. And he's probably my favorite player in this year's draft class, period. In all honesty, at least the one I enjoyed scouting the most.
Yeah, you also took Javonte Williams for me. I also was high on him. He's probably up there for my favorite athletes that I've seen. My sleeper, I'm also going to go in the running back position here. A guy that's definitely under the radar, probably also going to go in the late rounds to end it off. And you've definitely heard of him because we've talked about him one time in this podcast. Not during our mock draft. It was, I believe, in November, end of November. And his name is Jarrett Patterson out of the University of Buffalo. Jarrett Patterson, we all know him because he went viral for having 409 rushing yards in a game and 8 touchdowns. 8 touchdowns.
That's crazy.
Rushing touchdowns and 400 rushing yards in the game. Besides that, I'm a fan of him. Great ball security. I definitely noticed that. I looked at a lot of the game film. Not too shifty, but I think he definitely is like the type of running back that finds any way possible to get the extra yards. Kind of like like a Mark Ingram type of guy. I think that's probably it. He's between the tackles. He's definitely a between the tackles type of running back. Yeah, I mean, I like. I think that's definitely the strengths that I like about him. The weakness that I have about him, obviously, is that he's 5'9", and he's under 200 pounds, and he's like I don't know if he can be a full-time starter either. He's maybe like more of a change of pace type of running back, maybe like a guy like an Austin Eckler. I mean, Austin Eckler was kind of like that to begin with when he was with Melvin Gordon, and now obviously he's evolved himself to become a running back 1 with the Chargers. But we'll see how that turns out. I think he's also not really a third down running back, but I think for where I think he's valued, I'm pretty sure he's valued as a day 3 pick, probably around the 4th round, 5th round, and I'm definitely higher on him. He's definitely a top 5 running back. That being said, the running back class isn't extremely strong, as you mentioned before. I think Javonte Williams, Etienne, Harris, Carter, also out of UNC, and then Jarrett Patterson. I think those are the top 5 guys. And I mean, Jarrett Patterson could go anywhere from late 3rd round till 5th. And I think you could definitely get a solid player out of this that has that upside and has that potential to be really special in this league. So, and you clearly saw it. I mean, like I said before, you don't see 400 yards in a game. You don't see
Yeah,
8
obviously
touchdowns
he's
in a
got
game.
talent.
Yeah, you can't. Well, no, yeah, exactly. And anyone with eyes can tell you that he has talent if he's pulling up that type of stats. And it's D1 football at the end of the day, and you don't just get that. And yeah, that's my sleeper there on the offensive side.
Thanks for watching this episode of the Flea Flicker NFL show, and I'll have a segment out for the defensive underrated players we have. If you like this video, thanks for watching. Subscribe, like the video, do all that fun stuff. Thank you, peace out, and bye.